This is not your personal space. It's a public sidewalk, ma'am.
You're following me. That's harassment.
Oh, it is?
I need you to leave my personal space and stop walking behind me and filming me without my permission.
I'm interviewing people on a picket line. If you think this is harassment, by all means, call the cops.
Interview. I haven't agreed to an interview.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in North Toronto. Well, folks, I'm standing outside St. Agnes Catholic School in North York, and this school was in the news last month. Our good friend Joe Warmington of the Toronto Sun broke a story after he was tipped off that students at this school were actually being indoctrinated by the faculty. And by that I mean, folks, they were told to write letters to Premier Doug Ford about the strike. Indeed, here is what one assignment stated in the handout. Quote, "Budget cuts mean one subject must be cut from the curriculum. Pick a subject and write a letter to Premier Doug Ford arguing why it should not be cut. Your letter should have 2 to 3 arguments, i.e. reasons why the subject should not be cut. Each reason should be a separate paragraph. Make sure to include all the parts of a letter, greeting, body, closing, etc. This will be written in the first person," end quote. Well, folks, I drove down the road to the Toronto District Catholic School Board, and lo and behold, there are indeed some striking teachers here. Not all the striking teachers, of course. I guess some are using this as another PA day or a sick day. In any event, I've got 2 questions for them. One, what do they think about some of the schools indoctrinating kids, elementary school kids, to write letters to the Premier of Ontario, basically regurgitating union talking points? And secondly, given that this is indeed a Catholic school board, what would Jesus say about the teachers withholding their services from the kids today? Let's find out what some of these learned scholars have to say. Hey ladies, how you doing? Just asking people here on the picket line, what do you think about indoctrinating children to write letters to the Premier, basically reciting union talking points?
No comment, thank you.
No comment? You're a teacher, can't you articulate your points, ma'am?
No.
No? Oh, gee. I would argue that might be not a good thing to have you in class if you can't articulate yourself. You're filming me, I'm filming you. What do you think about indoctrinating kids to write to the Premier of Ontario? No comment? You're just filming me. You're free to film me, by the way. You don't have any problem with the indoctrination of elementary school children to be union stooges, basically? Hey, man, what do you think about the school indoctrinating kids?
Thank you.
You're a teacher. Can't you articulate yourself, ma'am? Ma'am, what would Jesus say about you withholding your services from the kids today? How about yourself, ma'am? What would Jesus say?
No comment.
What would Jesus say about you?
Question, by the way. Very ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, why is that? You're a Catholic school board teacher, aren't you? You've got religion right in the name of your job position.
Ezra, go somewhere else.
Well, I'll pass that on to Ezra. I'm not Ezra, but anyways. What do you think about the school board indoctrinating children?
Do you not remember that?
I never got an answer. What's your answer to that, ma'am?
You're not worth speaking to.
I'm not worth speaking to? Geez, that's not nice. That's not very Christian.
Personal space, thank you.
Your personal space, you're on a sidewalk. Do you have ownership of this sidewalk?
At what point is this harassment?
Not yet.
At what point is this harassment?
We haven't reached that point yet, ma'am.
We'll call the police and we can figure it out.
Is this how union thugs operate these days, calling the police?
From Rebel News who can't get a real job.
Wow, job shaming now. Well, it's not a unionized job. We don't.
What are you trying to do about my job?
Yeah. Well, we don't suck from the public trough. Oh yeah. Well, someone else other than the taxpayer.
Out of my face.
But you said nor do I. Who's paying your salary?
Leave my personal space.
This is not your personal space. It's a public sidewalk, ma'am.
You're following me. That's harassment.
Oh, it is.
I
I'm
need you to leave my personal space and stop walking behind me and filming me without my permission.
interviewing people on a picket line. If you think this is harassment, by all means, call the cops.
Interview. I haven't agreed to an interview.
Say the cuts, reverse. Reverse. When I say reverse, you say the cuts.
Hi, ma'am.
Reverse.
Hi, ma'am. You seem to be in charge here with that bullhorn. What do you think?
Class size. When I say class size, you say matters. Class size. Class size.
How about yourself, ma'am? What do you think about the indoctrination of children in your schools to write letters to the premier, basically reciting union talking points?
Well, we give them the chance to speak their mind.
But are they really speaking their mind? They're being directed by the teachers to write these letters.
They can say whatever they want in letters.
Really? I'd be interested to see if non-approved union talking points actually get sent off in the mail.
I actually don't know. I've never done it, so I can't really speak to it.
No, fair enough.
I appreciate your support for coming out and helping us.
I'm not sure it's support. I'm just asking questions. What would Jesus say about you withholding your service from the kids today, ma'am?
Oh, okay. I think Jesus would be proud that we are, we're supporting those who are most vulnerable, that the cutting special education and everything, those are the most vulnerable students, and who are living, in his teachings and making sure that everybody is, has a right to education, and so that we're supporting that.
So this is for the kids then?
Of course.
Okay. What about that 2% salary increase demand?
I don't think most of us care.
Really? Tell me, that's an interesting point, ma'am. If the government said we'll acquiesce to all your other demands except a salary increase, would there be a deal on the table today?
I couldn't speak for the unions, but I think that, we've had salary freezes for years. We've had 1% for years, and I think that's been, we've, given up that amount of money. And now this cost of living has exploded. So, yeah, I think it's important to be paid fairly for what you're doing, but I think what's most important are the students, and what we're fighting mostly for. It's not so much the money. We understand that the government, there's not much money to go around. So,
one of the questions I have is, why are some of the English Catholic schools indoctrinating children to write to the Premier of Ontario stating union talking points?
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, you don't know about that? It was St. Agnes School, for one, was doing it.
Oh, nope. No idea about that.
No?
No.
No. Are there any, do you think it's right, though?
I don't really have any comments.
No comment on that. So you have no problem with children, elementary school children, being used as
Elementary school teacher, so
Okay.
you have to ask someone who's in elementary.
Oh, okay, then that's beyond your pay grade. Okay, no problem. Well, folks, what did we learn from our visit to the Toronto Catholic District School Board picket line today? Well, a few things. It seems that, at least amongst those teachers that could articulate an opinion, they don't have any problem with indoctrination. They call indoctrination education, as a matter of fact. Also, when it comes to the Jesus question, it looks like they say Jesus would weigh in with the public sector trade unionists who pretty much go on strike every 2 or 3 years demanding yet more money. But of course, money, as we found out yet again, lesson number 3, has nothing to do with that 2% salary increase, silly. It's all about the kids. And speaking of the kids, as they like to say in communist regimes, get them young, get them forever. Gee, to quote, or to paraphrase rather, Pink Floyd, when it comes to the kids in school, we don't need no indoctrination. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, have you heard? Rebel News is going on a cruise. Please go to rebelnewscruise.com, get all the details, and I hope to see you come July.